Welcome back to Level Up TV at levelupyourgame.net with me, Disrepute, and Vor. We are going to go to the second map, Team Ukraine and France. First map win it to France. Pretty dominant victory actually on Hidden Fortress, and now in dreadful place. This is the Ukraine's map pick. This is the ClanBase Nations Cup 2012 semi-final as well.
Yes.
And as you were saying, Vor, ammo very important in TDM.
Yes, it is very important.
Well, especially,
Weapons
I mean, lightning
every
gun.
30 seconds, ammo crits every 40 seconds, so, you know, you've got to make the most of what you have, because, you know, maybe more so in Quake 3 was the case where you couldn't drop weapons, but, you know, even with weapon drop, you know, still, you've got to use everything.
Well, they did lower the max ammo that you can
they did.
carry with
Exactly.
quite a few of the weapons, especially
Lightning gun,
gun.
you used to be able to carry 200, rail you used to be able to carry 50, rockets 50. Or was it even more than that? I just remember it as being 50, but whatever.
And we're going to go live then on the second map. Ukraine do need to take this, of course. It's a best of 3.
2, 1, fight.
And we are
This
live.
is a
Lincoln's
certainly
point
a
of view.
strong map. Strong map for the Ukraine. We've seen them have exceptional team play on it. And if there's any advantage they do have over this French team, I mean, it is team play. I mean, not to say that France are lacking team play necessarily, but, you know, this Ukraine lineup is much more used to playing with each other, you know, at all times, even when there's not a Nations Cup.
There's a bit of variance in the lineup for France as well, of course.
Yeah.
But this is probably their strongest lineup they could play with at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Nice rocket covering by BZD as they're going to take this second rail of the map. The Ukraine. Quad we don't have a time for, but there it is, up straight on the spot.
Wow.
Gizmo, 100 stacks, lightning gun in hand as well. Don't really know why he decided to take that route after the rail was there. He was probably always going to take one shot.
Red is available for him.
There we go.
Potential for a really strong first quad.
He goes going down to the rail position. That
Good rail.
oh my god,
Wow.
Decides to come back in and have another
That
go.
was maybe overconfident.
Crazy. I mean, well, to be fair, if he hadn't picked up that red, which maybe they wouldn't know that he'd had 2 reds effectively, then you might have taken him out. So
Sure, but you know what it did do was give away 2 rail guns, and one of them was to Lincoln this, and we've already seen on Hidden Fortress where he's taken out, you know, what he can do with a rail if given an opportunity.
following wins now, he has a railgun, he has the red.
So does Lincoln again.
And look at that! I mean, they committed at least 3 people down to that railgun position. They did get 1 frag out of it as well. Looks like they've picked up the rail and moved away now. Ukraine very comfortable playing the mega health side of the map.
Yeah, we often see them end up playing that side and doing it successfully. But I will always say it, I do believe it requires a lot more coordination to play that side of the map, and you are more prone to being pressured by the enemy team because they can kind of divide your team and take advantage.
Here we see the way France moved out there. Very aggressive. 3 of their players moving well away from red in unison towards that mega position, eventually getting the frag 20 seconds before this next squad now though, and France are in a defensive position. Win still retains around 60 armor from that red he picked up ages ago though. Look at those grenades.
Yeah, but really important, I think, to block off that as a route for Ukraine to come in.
Oh, does just miss that rail shot. Could that be significant? Oh, look at those spam rockets. Just delays it a little bit. Lincoln deciding he wants that quad. Oh, brilliant rail play from Lincoln. Going to get himself some rail ammo as well. Got to be careful. He doesn't get pummeled here. Oh my god, the bounce grenade. Great kill on quad. Frag moving material, mate.
Well,
He meant
I
it.
wouldn't.
He meant
I wouldn't
it.
say it's frag moving material.
Nice rail play from Vendigo, 5th impressive of the map, 50% he's hitting, takes out Gizmo as well. The teams are tied a lot slower, the scoring rate here on this map, of course.
Of course.
Should mean if the teams are as close as they were on the previous map, it'll stay a lot closer for longer.
Yeah, you do typically see that on this map where it isn't often that one team just surges ahead by 30, 40 frags. It normally does stay around 5 to 10 being the difference between good teams.
Triple6 picks up that mega health. He's got a shaft in hand. Nice chunk of ammo to use with that there. He catches one of the French players out.
Well, he's done a lot of LG
done
damage to 3 of those
clip
players.
of LG ammo damage where France could be in a terrible position. I mean, they're either going to just have to back off for a little while, try and
they've
stack up.
actually managed to defend that. I mean, all the damage Triple6 did, I mean, it didn't really do much just because he didn't have enough team support. He only had one player.
Before, I mean, it was 40 seconds before the quad, so it was absolutely perfect time to do that damage. It should mean France, as long as the rest of his team, Ukraine team, was... If they're not attacking, they've got to be stacking up, right?
Yeah, you'd hope so, because it should only be one well-armoured player for France.
Wow.
Wins, of course, is on his way into quad.
Here he goes, could get caught out. He isn't, but that's a great rocket by Triple6, takes him out.
He has done a lot of damage by Wins, and his teammates could take advantage.
Wow, France have done a great job. All 4 of them turning up there. The respawns from the Ukraine players just obviously weren't close enough, or they just didn't get in there quick enough. Wins going aggressive with the shotgun there. The 50 does just spawn right in perfect time. Missed out on the red. What's he going to do?
Well, the yellow's up if he can get there. Or if he wants to even get there.
Got to be careful. They're going to get shafted down and the quad is eliminated. Ukraine could move into the red here and take control of it.
Look, he shot a body and it cost him his life. Triple6.
And why did it cost him his life?
Because there was a player right next to the body or coming in from behind the body or whatever, and he was busy shooting it for the extra damage this.
What a fool.
In a Nations Cup semi-final.
Well, if it costs them, if they lose by 1 frag now, we know whose fault it was. Ukraine actually up by 2 frags at the moment though, as Extreme grabs that LG. We've seen traditionally as well the very strong lock on these LG positions, rail as well, and that's really what the map's about. You can hold either side of the map, but you just have to commit players to the rail and the LG spawns and make sure you know when they are, whichever side of the map.
They're the most valuable weapons on this map.
On
and
any
you
map.
have to make sure you are, well, yeah, pretty much any map. Rocket obviously is good on some maps like Grim Dungeons, but less so on other maps.
We see the French team moving into the quad position now.
Yeah, so easy for them to just come in here and have a nice setup for this quad. Unlucky to get hit there, Wins.
It doesn't look like the most solid lock ever by France, but
solid enough. There's been no challenge so
nothing.
far.
Nothing coming in. It might be a last-second rush. In fact, one of the things the French players have done is move right the way out that they could.
Oh, double rail.
Look at that, another rail shot by Wins as well. Triple6 trying to make his way in with 9 health. Got to be careful. He's going to get Cess down. Oh my god! Managed to escape that. The 50 is up. Extreme doing quite a decent attempt at a pummel there. It was just a little bit too early on the quad, but could have caught him out there.
Yeah,
Red
but
should
Lincoln
be
is
up in
back
time.
up to full health. He picked that quad up and went down to 4 health, so
Great
always
dodging by
important to
Lincoln.
stay alive.
Brilliant dodging. It's a nice run by Lincoln. 3 frags on this run, looking for that sharp rail shot through that gap.
He's the victim of a rail himself, though, and another. So, they've got a lot of rail guns. It means that the quad has a hard time penetrating that area.
Yeah, well, BZD also had a shaft, so it says exactly what the Ukraine are really focusing on. Again, he gets down on the rail, so they know, they know the times. They're focusing on the weapons. We don't see the French players quite as effective at turning. Oh, look at those rails by BZD. Should just back off now. Try and stack up. Did get spawned on, which really cost him his escape route.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Lost
really
him some
viable.
valuable weapons as well. He had rail, he had lightning gun.
Of course, he would have called the rail time to his teammates. Look at this, the French team just diving in there as a 3. And that's kind of the thing you need to do, actually, on this map. It's a grab and go on the weapons. I think that's the way maps should be in Quake Live. The weapons in contestable positions and the armors in holdable. 25 seconds before this next quad. We've got 5 seconds to go. Wins is right on top of this red.
Final red before quad, and we've seen Wins is normally the man for the quad.
Make sure he's ready at all times. very good at not taking just meaningless damage. Although he's been
Oh, no,
completely
there's a
caught
lot of
out there.
lightning guns in there.
Yeah, look how many lightning guns there are, and that is going to pay dividends as
But
the map
still,
goes on.
I mean, France come out on top.
Well, this is the worrying thing, though. They're still behind despite so many quads for. Need a nice run here just to get back on top. Oh, saves the mega.
Crucial.
Perfect timing to grab that one. Now, of course, both teams will still have a time on that mega, but France, if they can, want to keep pressuring that each time.
Oh, this is a great quad run.
This is amazing.
7 frags.
7, what the hell?
On this map,
Brilliant.
that is rare.
Especially as the Pressure Nations Cup semi-final. Look at this run. This is absolutely amazing.
This is where games are won
excellent.
and lost, is plays like this.
Wow, well this is the kind of stuff we expect to see from Lincoln or maybe wins, but Gizmo, I mean, that is just brilliant play. 71% rail in that run as well, and he gave away the rail to a teammate. If you're hitting that, I wouldn't be giving it away.
Well, that's a real team player, isn't it? I mean, he still thinks, you know, give away a strong weapon to a teammate, even though I'm doing so well with it.
Does go a little bit over-aggressive and gets caught out there, though. Ukraine committing a lot of players to make sure they secure that railgun position. Vendigo hitting, what was that, 9 impressives there? 50% rail. And this side of the map, I tell you what as well, Vor, it's very easy to evade any kind of counter-attacks because any direction that anybody comes from the red is, they've got a long way to travel.
Look at these aggressive pushes
Wow.
out though by France, and Vendigo, you know, he's got weapons, but he's
In a bad
got to
position
back off.
considering it's 30 seconds before quad. He had no health. He's down now anyway. And wins at quad 25 seconds before it spawns with 50 armor. We just heard the red armor taken by a teammate as well, so they're good armor-wise. Although he's lost the position on the quad. Have they got no weapons? Ukraine?
Well, it's hard to say.
One
We've got a
shotgun.
shotgun at least, but
And he didn't drop his rail because he only had 1 rail shot left. CRV doing a lot of damage there. Does get 2 frags in the end 3 seconds before the quad spawns. Is anybody near enough to challenge now? Well, they were. The French team get it again. And it's their quad play that's going to win them the map, Vor.
yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it's slight luck, but it just does seem every time there's a battle over quad, it's always France who get there quicker.
Wow.
You know, off respawns.
Don't know how Lincoln evaded that shot. I think it's more luck than anything. Maybe a little micro dodge though, save the day. You see, this is more typical of a quad run on this map. He sees people at distance, he just can't get over to them.
No, you could run straight towards them, and all you're going to receive is a face full of machine gun as you try and get near them, and they've just got so many options of which way they want to try and escape.
So it's about a 15 frag margin in favour of France now, after that brilliant world-class quad run by Gizmo.
Wow, Lincoln, I mean, avoiding that shotgun there, I mean, you normally expect to take a pretty heavy hit, but I think it's just the way he slightly dodged out to the right.
Going to
there,
miss out on
just-
the red. Lincoln getting the call back, I presume, to help support is just a little bit too late though. And they do miss out on the red, and it's going to be stolen reds by the Ukraine that should add up to them getting a chance to bring this back, but...
It's interesting though, if we're still on Lincoln, you'd expect more of a presence from Ukraine in this area, but...
Well, I think they just play to the times. This is really great ambush play by Lincoln, although it seems like they just went way more aggressive than he expected. Extreme there.
Lightning gun just came up, did he not see it?
I guess he didn't. He's missed out on the yellow as a result as well, so it's not gone perfectly for Lincoln. In fact, he's in a difficult position now because the quad's coming up in 15 seconds. If he's going to take this backside route, could get caught out, although this worked out perfectly, taking out
It's
Vendigo.
ideal, coming in behind there whilst they're already engaged with the people in the quad room.
We can see Lincoln was just thinking ahead there when he moved that to position. I think that was his plan all along, to catch them out behind, because he knows every time they've attacked, they've come in that high position. Got to be careful, he's aware of his ammo count here. 50 ammo should be enough for a couple of kills, but you're going to run out pretty quick with Lighty. There you go, couple of kills straight on the board. Ammo, ammo, oh my god. And he's going to get some more ammo on this run. Great rail there, 4 frags on this run. They're going to get a 5th and another French quad run. put them roughly 20 frags to the good. We've only got 3 quads remaining as well. This again, it's like that point again. We saw
and
it.
This position he's in now, with the way Ukraine play, is just so devastating to them because he's kind of cut them off from that lightning gun and yellow armor.
They're in big trouble at this stage. I mean, he's mopping up. He takes out their mega health player. He's mopped up their 225s, coming in the back of them at the rail position. Looks like the Ukraine are just all over the map. And France, look, they got 3 players in close proximity, and then just Lincoln on the other side. Does miss those rail shots. It's going to give them a little bit of breathing space. In fact, BZD does confiscate that rail, but ideally he wanted a teammate to get the other rail. In fact, there can't be any rails in the possession of Ukraine now, surely.
No, unless they've got to drop one from somewhere. I mean, it's something that France have been doing so well, and we've seen how many players they commit to rail. Often we see them down there with 3 players, and you know, if they all come in as a free with perfect timing, it's very hard for Ukraine to do anything about it unless they also commit a similar amount of players.
Lincoln doing this behind enemy 9's movement again. Mopped up those 225s. There's 15 seconds to go before the quad, though. Looks like Ukraine are already there. He goes for the rocket jump. Didn't quite pay off that time. This might be one of the very few quads that Ukraine is gonna gather. Although, is it? Look at this last second attack. Does get the pummel kill. The rail shot was missed, although
Wins, hits
he is
rail.
eliminated. And France again doing a great job on the power up.
It did seem like, where was the rest of the Ukraine team there? I mean, did they all die defending? I didn't really notice that happening. It just seemed like Skills Extreme was there with one other player.
Yeah, just moseying on around the quad. Didn't really have any weapons to do anything either, so it wasn't the greatest quad setup, and France could just breeze in right at the death and eliminate it. Let's have a look at the quad pickers. I mean, it's 7-1. Look at that, 3 minutes of quad time.
Well, it's kind of the same story.
3 seconds. Massive difference in power up times. And I mean, honestly, Quake is so focused on the power up play nowadays. These teams are very close.
Yeah, I mean, you can get away with, you know, not getting all the power ups or way less power ups against a team much weaker than you, but not in a game of, you know, this standard.
Four minutes remaining. I think the key... I mean, the funny thing is, you should expect every team to go to quad firstly. They should always be organised, but it's really a little bit more complex than just saying, alright, quad's up, let's go. We'll get there, we'll have an opportunity, because it's more about the play beforehand. A lot of it, obviously, we don't see because we only follow one individual, but doing a damage maybe 40-50 seconds before to teams, pushing them to the other side of the map. They've got a longer route to take.
And on this map as well, I'd say it's who dares to go there earliest, because we've seen teams before set quad up on this map as early as 40 seconds before quad. Because the quad area is so strong, you know, you can kind of sacrifice some of the armour and weapons on the map just to get the early position.
Look at the great spawns France got. They're actually going to pay the price for those spawns on this occasion, but the amount of damage they must have dealt out there. We've got Triple Sex, who's a fresh spawner himself with nothing. Gizmo should have grabbed that shotgun, really. Wasn't quite aware of it at first. Too late to get in there and grab it. Only 50 health for Triple Sex with this quad run. Look at the damage he's taken already. Going to have to spend most of the run probably stacking up. I mean, he's still railable. Gizmo doesn't quite notice the quad just jumping below him.
I think he's done quite well here with
Yeah.
Triple Sex. He's made the most of what he had, because he certainly didn't have much to work with. But, you know, 3 or 4 kills was that.
Yeah.
Brings it to within
20 odd frags.
23.
I mean, they do have 1 quad remaining. It's going to be very difficult to do it, but they're going to have to start making back the frags now.
But yeah, they're going to have to play extremely well. They need to get it back to at least, I think, within 15 frags. You know, you can't ask too much more than that in the final quad and final minute.
Yeah, and that is pushing. That's talking about a very good quad run.
Yeah, and your teammates have to capitalise on respawns. You know, everyone has to really play at their absolute
We
best.
see France again taking control of that red. Wins has moved up to the quad area already. I don't know if he's going to stay around here or just...
Well, he's sticking with his teammates who are down at the rail.
That's a nice play from Wins. I mean, he effectively dodged as well as got in a position to shoot there.
Yeah, the position he was in, I mean, you'd expect Extreme would have gone down there to help his teammates attack that railgun, but you know, he can't really do that when Wins is just watching for him to drop.
Yeah, they've done a good job then, Ukraine. They're definitely focused on getting this last power up. Let's have a look at some of the stats while we wait, though. 30 to 11 on the Reds. And look at how even the Yellows are, 17 to 15. In fact, in favour of France as well. Only the Megas, Ukraine winning on.
And I think that is the problem with playing Mega Yellow. I mean, it takes so much coordination, and you can be caught out badly by a team playing the Red effectively.
That's actually what I was going to point out, is the coordination of the French team. They're moving in, attacking in unison from effectively 3 different angles, although I think 2 went up the bounce pad. God, almost ambush! It's final quad in the hands of Gizmo. Don't know quite why he switched around to rail. They're probably the wrong choice.
He'd have hit the rails and hit on his earlier quad run in this game.
But I think what we've seen is the right timing of attacks on the quad by France. They've set it up earlier generally. When they haven't, they've timed their attacks and coordinated them well together.
They've had a degree of fortune. I mean, at least to me, it felt like the earlier quads that were really well contested by both teams, the players that were dying, it was deaths on both sides, but the French players, they were just back there straight away. It kind of seemed like they maybe got the better spawns, or whether the Ukraine players just didn't rush back.
I mean, this map is so dependent on the spawns as well. You can get spawned right over the yellow side of the map, or you can spawn right down at rail. I mean,
and you're never going to get back to quad if you spawn over at yellow, pretty much. But this is impressive from France, and you'd have to say going forward they certainly look the best team in this competition.